Hello, everybody, and welcome to English Grammar with Amaya Sir. And we are discussing currently the chapter 3.5, the unit 3.5 rather, and it's based on the legendary boxer Mary Kom. And we did start with the chapter, but we will bring this to conclusion today. That was the first part, and this is the part two. So if you haven't watched the first part, well, go ahead and watch that part before you start with this, because we are going to dive straight into the slides. And I believe that the screen that I'm going to bring in front of you right now, yes, this was the last slide that we studied in the previous lecture, and I really am happy to present this particular example. I was very happy to share this one with you, where we discussed 51 kg event and $1 million question, and not $1 million question. And now, as usual, let me come on cam to share, as usual, important thing with you, which is, you know that by now, whenever I'm reading something or whenever I'm explaining something, don't get busy jotting down the points. At the end of every slide, I shall give you about 2 minutes to jot down the important points. We will, of course, go ahead and in between discuss the homework. And by the way, talking of homework, I'm so happy to get homework from you from via email, or people WhatsApp me. And some people, one or two people, leave comments for the things that I tell you. Wonderful. Keep whatever suits you, but then do the homework. Okay, so let's get started with the first slide for today, which is this. And I'm going to, as usual, read it first, and then only will we study it in depth. The interviewer continues asking questions. He says, how big a role did OGQ play in shaping the boxing scene in India for the better? Now, if you are wondering what is this OGQ, we'll deal with it. Even here you will have it, we will deal with it. Mary Kom replies, OGQ really played an important role in my success. They helped me out whenever I needed something. They took care of everything, which helped me focus on my boxing and kept me stress free. So interviewer continues, what is your opinion on the future of Indian boxing? This is opinion. Okay, what is your opinion on the future of Indian boxing? By the way, the reason why you have the snapshots of these two gentlemen is because of this OGQ. So what is this OGQ? It means Olympic Gold Quest. It is a non-profit foundation created by Mr. Geet Sethi and Mr. Prakash Padukone. Now, he is the father of the famous actress Deepika Padukone. All right. And they did this with the intention to promote the quality, the performance of Indian athletes, because they noticed that there were a lot of shortcomings, and that probably were taking our medals away. So they created this Olympic Gold Quest in order to boost the performance of the Indian contingent, the players, and indubitably it did provide us with great result. I'm very happy, guys. I would like to, that's why I have now come on camera. Hats off to such guys who actually take initiative to bring about the change they want without waiting for a government intervention every now and then. That's why salute to these guys and hats off to their efforts. Olympic Gold Quest, you got to remember this. And what they do is they support the players in every way they can, in terms of if they need the coach, if they need financial help, if they probably want some kind of equipments in their play, or whatever it is. They do make things available, and they provide their best help. Very, very inspired by what these two guys have done. I repeat, here you have Mr. Geet Sethi. He was a snooker champion. And I am saying he was a snooker champion because I believe now he is not currently as active as he was. And of course, the shuttler here, dad of the actress Deepika Padukone. Gentlemen, and they created great facility, and even Mary Kom here acknowledges that, and she says that OGQ really played an important role in her success. Amazing. Let's continue. They took care of everything. Change the voice. Now, whenever it is change the voice, I've told you how we should proceed with it. They took care of everything. So you should notice the verb here and you should start after the verb. So, took care. Everything was taken care of by them. They took care of everything. Everything was taken care of by them. It's OF and not OFF, mind you. It's a very interesting question. Stress free is a compound word. You must have noticed the hyphen. So there are many compound words here in the previous slides as well. We've studied. And now I will start your timer, and I'm going to give you a couple of minutes so that you can jot down everything, and your countdown starts. So make sure that you make accurate notes. And by the way, there have been a few cases where the textbooks that the students have different wordings. Well, that happens because they might be having the old edition. If you buy the latest edition, you will have what I have here. Okay, the classic example was the poem The Will to Win, where the printing mistake is they have written for the word besiege, they have written something like besize. So that's not what the word is, it is besiege. So if you have the old edition, then the wordings will be different. If you have the latest copy, this is what you should have there. Okay, so here Olympic gold quest, and I urge you guys to actually go ahead and find out more about this Olympic gold quest thing. You can use Wikipedia, Google it, and you will find out in what way OGQ helps the athletes and Indian sports person. And OGQ, Olympic Gold Quest, played an important part in Mary Com's success. So not that they just established an institute, it delivered immediate results. That's what makes me happy. It's effective. Whatever, I think first it was Mr. Geet Sethi who thought about this. Later he approached Mr. Prakash Padukone, and then they decided to form this OGQ. There are a lot of people associated with OGQ now, but I think the credit should go to Mr. Geet Sethi for being the pioneer. Last 10 seconds before we proceed to the next slide. Your time is up, and I hope that you are absolutely ready to move to the next. As usual, now I will begin reading it, so stop writing and focus. Pay attention. Mary Com answered that question. Remember that last question that he asked? So she is answering. The future is very bright, and I am sure many more boxers will get medals for us. So Mary Com here expresses great confidence and faith. So she's saying that the future is very bright, and I'm sure many more boxers will get medals for us as in India. The interviewer then continues and asks, do you find it difficult to convince your children not to fight when they watch you go out and do it in style all the time? Well, this is a very interesting question, guys. So Mary Com is a boxer, and so this question makes sense. If you professionally fight, enter into fights, and you box and knock out your opponents, is it difficult for you to control your kids when they start boxing or when they start fighting against each other? I like this question, and the response as well by Mary Com. She says, well, I have twins, and yes, sometimes it becomes really difficult to keep them under control. I like the candid approach by Mary Com. What did I just say? I like the candid approach of Mary Com. She is accepting this, that yes, at times it does become difficult. She's not being diplomatic here. She acknowledges the fact that yes, she appreciates that she's a boxer. So there are times when her twins start fighting, and it does become at times very difficult to keep them under control. That's wonderful indeed. The interviewer then continues, will you train your kids to become boxers as well? It's a very common question. Any particular star will be asked this question. Like Vishwanathan Anand, Grandmaster from India, the former world champion, gets asked this question. So will Akhil also become a chess player like you? His son. Everyone gets asked this question because then they feel that charity begins at home. So will your kids also enter chess? Maricom clearly says, I haven't really thought about it. As of now, just let their mothers box. So here I think she's making it very clear that her retirement plans are far away. I think she's wanting the interviewer to come on the point here, come to the point here, that you should at the moment focus on me and don't worry about the kids. They're very young for for now. Let just their mother box. Very important and a very subtle way of bringing the topic to the point. I like that, and I hope you also have understood the subtle nature of her response. The things to study here: the future is very bright. The future is very bright. You have to make it exclamatory. The future is very bright. You will see that this does not have any article. Okay, this the is for future, not behind the adjective. So you'll start with how bright the future is. Notice that you have the here, but this the is not preceding an adjective or a quality. That's why you have this how. Don't just go for any article and start with how, start with what, I beg your pardon. So the future is very bright, bright being the adjective, there's no article here. So how bright the future is. One clear tip that I want to provide here is the first few words become the last few words. So if you notice here, the future is, it ends with the future is, and that is how you approach it. Okay, the first two or three words become the last two or three words, and don't forget to end it, terminate it with an exclamatory mark. What else? More boxers will get medals for us. And here modal auxiliary is to be spotted. So clearly the modal auxiliary is will. And what does will show? Will shows that it is modal auxiliary of certainty. She has no doubt about it. She is certain that more boxers will get medals for us. This shows certainty. It's an element of confidence here. Compare that with may. Now may shows possibility. Okay, next one, I have twins. Add a question tag, and clearly I have shown you the way you could probably lose a mark here. Just if you go by your instincts and write down haven't, because the auxiliary have has been used here, this is again possession. Remember, we did discuss with this. If it's possession, I have twins. So I have is her possession. She has twins. I have twins, she says. Therefore, you cannot just treat it as have, make it negative, haven't. That's the answer. You should be careful. So that's why this example is important. Let's go back to what I was saying. I have twins, and here the question tag, the correct question tag is don't I. So this have is used for possession. It is not used as a plain auxiliary to be changed into negative. That's it. And I think I'm going to now start with your timer. There it is. Make necessary notes. Twins. By the way, here is the first interesting homework. You know, whenever there is the birth of the twins, sometimes the babies, they are joined to each other. Okay, try to find a word in English for that condition where the twins are born and they are joined. The children, at the time of their birth, they are joined, their bodies are joined. What is the English term or the word for that? This is a very interesting homework. Try to find out. You can leave that as your comment for this particular lecture. For the exclamatory, I made it clear that the first two or three words become the last two or three words. The future is, and the line ended with the future is. for the modal auxiliary, or the spelling is important, AUXILIARY, and the modal auxiliary will shows certainty. And I told you the contrast of certain, being certain, is just expressing possibility. So imagine if she had said more boxers may get medals for us, that's just a possibility. But here she says more boxers will get medals for us. This shows that she is certain that such a thing will happen. Last but not the least, the final response by Mary Com, let their mother box, is very subtle, and it brings the topic back to a proper discussion. And she is clarifying that her career is far from over. At the moment, she has not given a thought about what her kids would do. So she is very subtle about it. Your time is up, and I have no doubt that you must have made the necessary notes. Let's proceed to the next slide. As usual, I am going to read it now, so please do not be occupied with anything else. The interviewer says, "You have broken several stereotypes about the women in India." Remember, one woman, many women. "You have broken several stereotypes about the women in India by showing that women can compete with men." This is not complete, guys. This is compete, okay? "Compete with men in any field. But how good are you at the traditional feminine activities like cooking?" Well, let me come on cam to share this with you. Talking of cooking, right now we are going through this coronavirus pandemic lockdown phase. And so forget about feminine. There are many men who have actually taken up cooking quite seriously in these days, and they are getting good at that, no doubt, and they are helping out at home. I'm happy. Another thing I want to share with you is, as I record this today, it's 11 May, and this is the National Technology Day in India. This day is celebrated as the National Technology Day. I'm not sure you're aware of this. If you are, wonderful. You should know why it is so, why it is celebrated so. Because we, in 1998, did the Pokhran nuclear tests. And I think then the our Prime Minister was Mr. Honorable late uh, Honorable Atal Bihari Vajpayee. So there was in fact a movie made on this, Paramanu. The thing is, this is the National Technology Day, and so what's up with that? The thing is, I am using technology to reach out to you, so it makes sense. Some people grumble that technology is dangerous, it's killing people, it spreads hatred. But you tell me, this lecture or these lectures that I have been presenting here, is that not a good use of technology? Yes. Well, nothing is good or bad in itself. It depends on how you're going to use it or put it to use. The classic example I always give is of a knife, is it not? How many uses or applications does knife have? It cannot be good or bad in itself. Well, of course, a crook will use it to plunder, to loot people, to kill people even, okay, if he does not get what he wants. A surgeon will use it effectively for a surgery to save someone's life. And your mom and maybe even your dad at the moment would use it in the kitchen for some preparation. So nothing is good or bad. It depends on your perspective and how you put it to good use. Just thought of sharing these things with you. Let's come back to the point and compete with men and feminine activities of like cooking. So I thought I would share this with you. So Mary Com says, "Well, I'm good at cooking and other household work too." That shows how multi-talented she is. She takes care of her house, and she is a champion boxer. Then the interviewer poses the next question: "Would you be interested in coaching Indian women in boxing one day? Would you be interested?" Well, she says, "Let's see." Again, this is the second time I get the indication that she's trying to somehow communicate to the interviewer that she has no plans of retiring anytime soon. So she says, "Let's see." I might think of that when it comes to that. At the moment, I'm not giving it a thought, but yes, that's a possibility. when I get to that stage. I think it's the second time you would notice she's brought the interviewer to the point. In the future, maybe yes. And this may suggests possibility unlike the will we studied in the last slide. Enjoy this, guys, I'm sure. Yeah, we just studied this in the last slide, remember? The interviewer now says, what do you prefer being called, super mom or super boxer? So there are choices. What do you like being referred to as? So she says, I love being a mom. That's the best thing that has ever happened to me. I like this response a lot. So she understands the responsibility, and maybe here she is making it clear that family comes first. So I am a champion boxer, all right, but becoming a mother is the best thing that has happened to me, and I think that comes first. So she is very clear, undiplomatic about her responses. She's made it very clear. What are the things to be studied here? The first thing to study here is the meaning of stereotypes. Stereotype means an idea or a notion held as a common standard. So the common standard, the then common standard was that, why should women compete with men, and it's a physical sport, so maybe they'll not do well. That's a stereotype, an idea held as common standard. Next one, you have broken several stereotypes about the women in India. Change the voice. Well, you'll start with several stereotypes because broken is the action, so you start after that. So several stereotypes about the women in India have been broken by you. Have changes to have been. And by the way, it is not being, it is been. Very important, guys. Students often get confused between been and being. And to that, I'm going to demonstrate better. I'm going to pull up the notepad. There it is. Why do I have the notepad here? Guys, whenever you have has or have or has or had rather, then you always use been. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. The hunter had killed the lion. The answer to that will be the lion had been killed by the hunter. So here you would notice that whenever it is has, have, or had, you use been. And the point is, if you have ing in the question, then you use being. Okay, it's very interesting, this will clarify any doubt that you have always had in your mind about been and being. So let's consider the example. I am watching I am driving, let's say I am driving a Ferrari. Brilliant, right? Brilliant. So a Ferrari, let's put the capital F. A Ferrari is being driven by me. So now you would realize that whenever you have ing in the question, you have being. Whenever you have has or have or had, then you use been. So when I give you time to make your notes, I will give you divide it. Okay, so let's go back to the PPT. This is what we were studying. We will come to this notepad a little in a moment, after a little while, because there's one more thing to discuss. Repetition. Super mom or super boxer. The word super is repeated for a better poetic effect. And maybe we did discuss about this word may. So this one shows the modal auxiliary of possibility. In the earlier slide, previous slide, we saw that will suggested certainty. That's it. So I'm going to give you your couple of minutes, but then use about a minute and a half for this one, and about 30 to 40 seconds for jotting down the been and the being difference in the notepad. So please jot it down. I will be with you in a few seconds. Well, another 30 seconds you could take for this. Then I'll take you to our notepad where we made the entry for been and being difference. I hope that you like the idea I shared in the previous lecture about how you could divide watching the entire lecture by dividing it into parts. So if you don't have an hour at a stretch, you can definitely make sure that you can divide it either in 4 different sittings of 15 minutes or maybe 3 sessions of 20 minutes each to finish the 1 hour lecture, because normally our lectures are for an hour. The duration of every video as far as the SSC textbook is concerned is an hour. Okay, let me assume that you have made the necessary notes. I pulled up the notepad as well. Just remember the rule: has, have and had you use been, and if there is ing in the question then you use being. All right, let us go back to our lesson. Guys, the lesson is over and time for us to discuss your textual assignments, and this is your homework. So what is this? This is question 4, where it says you will find some acronyms, short forms in the text. Go to the library or search the internet to find their full forms. Discuss with your partner. One is given for you. And yes, in fact, we did discuss about OGQ while we were studying the chapter. So OGQ is Olympic Gold Quest. So this is done, and now you have these remaining. So this is definitely your homework. Again, this is just the full form, so if you want you should leave this in the comment. But some students are very smart. You know what, they'll say that if we do this as a part of the comment section homework, then we will do the hard work and others will just cut copy paste the comments. So okay, if you want to send even an email for this, you can. So try to find out how many full forms do you have to find now. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, excluding OGQ of course. So please do this homework. No need for me to use the countdown timer for this one. So let's proceed. Now this is question number 5, and this is interesting because this is not your homework. We are going to do this now, and this is an important discussion. I want you all to really enjoy this because the textbook has given us 10 points for this fact file. Actually, if the fact file is asked, it will be asked for 5 marks. It won't be for 10 marks, but they have given us 10 points. So I have decided to honor all the 10 points and we will study it. So what is the question? The fact file based on Maricom. Some people call it the life skills as well. So you got to have the full name in it, the native place where she belongs, that is, the demonym. Remember we studied the word. So she's a Manipuri. Early life and interest, special sports taken up, who inspired her. I hope you remember we saw the snapshot as well. Her coach, early achievements, international achievements, what's her passion, and what are her future plans. There are 10 good points, and I'm now going to show the solution. By the way, let me come on cam for that. When I show you this fact file, I don't want you to again be straight away more interested in copying everything. Again, as usual, I'll give you enough time to copy. Okay, so don't worry about that, but focus on how I have dealt with each and every point here. Okay, so these are the first 5 points. Let's deal with it one by one. Full name: Mangte Chinejang Mary Com. So MC Mary Com. Guys, you will see a lot of times, or hear rather a lot of times, the news channels refer to her as MC Mary Com. So I think this MC Mary Com is exactly what this is. Okay. So Mangte Chungnejang Mary Com. That's her full name. Native of Kangthei village, Moirang Lamkai in Churachandpur district, Manipur. I am still not sure about the pronunciation of this word. Anybody who knows this is welcome to correct me. Early life and interest. Well, she belonged to a poor family interested in boxing and athletics. If you remember, now let me pose a question. Come on, Cam, for that. Let me pose a very good question here. When I pose such questions, I know if you're really listening to the explanation or not. What was her father, Mary Com's father, keenly interested in? That's right, wrestling. He was a very keen wrestler. I am happy with those who could answer immediately. I will not be impressed if you pause the video, went back, searched, and came back. So that's not fair. That's what not I wanted. Those who answered, wonderful, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And now, guys, we'll continue with the next one, which is special sports taken up. Of course, we all know that her special sport is boxing. She made a career out of it, and inspired by. We all know that. We all know that, right? So she was inspired by Dinko Singh, and I also remember we saw the snapshot after he won this medal in Bangkok Games. Okay, so I will give you about 2 minutes of your time to jot down these details. Please copy the spelling correctly. Mangte Chungnejang Mary Com, Kangthei village, Moirang Lamkhai in Churachandpur district, Manipur. Athletics. You better be careful with this spelling, guys. Athlete and athletics. Dinko Singh and her father. It's very important that I have included her father because her father was also a sports person. He was a wrestler, keenly interested in wrestling. So that, I think, paved the way. It's always a fact. If you have a singer in your house, well, there's some singing that will come to you for sure as a family tradition. When you make a note of this, make sure that you follow the format of fact file. As far as possible, the colons should come one below the other. Some students use a scale for that. Leaving a line is an option, so that is definitely what you can decide if you want to do it or not. Leaving a line is optional, but it does look good. Also, if you want to start continue writing, so let's say after this you wanted to continue, you shouldn't start from here. You should definitely start below the first fragment. Okay, very important things. The title, of course, you should leave a line after the title, that's for sure. You do this with proper neatness, you will get 5 out of 5, guys. Another 15 seconds and then we will see the remaining 5 points. And let me now reveal what we are going to study after we finish the textual exercises. The time is up, but before we go to the next one, let me come on cam to tell you what we are going to do. You'll be happy. After this, depending on how much time we have at hand, I wish to start with a formal letter. So we will select a nice topic. There are 2 letters I want you to study. We will study the second one today. The first one is actually a letter for job application. It's a job application letter. We will study that someday later. Today, I want you to write down a letter of complaint about the bad road conditions. So how to write it, where to write the address, the new format, the latest format is what we will study. It will be fun. So let's get done with this and then we will proceed to that. Let me take you back to the PPT. Here we go. And these are the next points. So, coach, let's discuss it one by one. Charles Atkinson. I remember telling you it's not Rowan Atkinson, it's Charles Atkinson. Okay. Early achievements. Well, in 2000. Well, notice now if there are more than one thing to more than if there is more than one thing to write, you divide them into points like this. In fact file, it does look great. So in 2000, she was the winner. She won the Manipur State Women's Boxing Championship. In 2001, silver medal in 48 kg category, the AIBA World Boxing Championship, and then she was only 18 years old. Can you imagine that? Phenomenal. International achievements in 2000, again 1 and 2. In 2012, remember what I said about the world was going to end by my students? Anyway, so here we go again. So she won the bronze medal in Olympics 2012 games, and the second, she has been a world boxing champion 6 times in every edition probably. Her passion is to make India famous in women's boxing, and her future plans to coach Indian women in boxing. Of course, that's a maybe. It's not for sure. She has made it very clear that that might be the case. She's not very sure about it right now. All right, beautiful. We will now start your countdown timer, and here you go. Please utilize these 2 minutes, and I shall see you after a minute. Okay, by the way, that apostrophe S does um, bring me to a very important question one of my students asked me. She wanted to know what out of the two is right, with Mother's Day with S apostrophe S, or is it S apostrophe? So we will deal with that after the end of these 35 seconds. We'll go to the notepad to study that. It was a very important question. Last 5 seconds. That's it. Your time is up. So here I am on cam to discuss this. There is a difference between apostrophe S and S apostrophe. I repeat, the apostrophe S and S apostrophe. There is a difference. So we will go ahead and let me pull up the notepad so that I can share more with you. This is what we have studied thus far. We did take a look at the been and being thing. Okay, so let's start this here. Apostrophe S versus S apostrophe. Very important, guys. So what happens is, what out of these two is right? Is it Mother's Day, or should it be written as Mother's Day? Is it A or B? Is it A or B? And I want you to make your choice. I hope you have made your choice, and the correct one is A, Mother's Day. Because we take mother as one entity and it is her day. Of course, it is celebrated across the globe and it involves all the mothers. but then you talk of mother as one entity, and so it is Mother's Day. Well, interesting example that I want to share with you is, when is the S apostrophe used? Well, one of the rules is when you wish to show the possessive plural. What do you mean by the possessive plural? So let me give you an example. So if there is a room that belongs to all the boys, then it should be boys' room. I hope that you are very clear with what I want to say. Guys, boys' room, all the boys and their room. So there, this S apostrophe is correct and not the apostrophe S. The second rule I want to discuss with you, the second rule about it is, when you wish to show the possession of a noun already ending with S. What's this rule? This rule is also very interesting. For example, you go to the church to seek Jesus' blessings. Imagine how odd it will be if you go to the church for Jesus's blessings. So my point is that whenever something that ends with S and you need to show the possession for that noun, then you don't say S apostrophe S. That's very awkward. There it is S apostrophe. So those are the two rules, and I have no doubt that you enjoyed this thoroughly. Okay, and otherwise the normal apostrophe S is perfect. So now my question, homework. What out of the two is right? Okay, let me pull the notepad again, because now it's your homework. So what out of the two is right? This is going to be your homework. Based on what I taught you, should it be Teacher's Day or Teacher's Day? Please make your choice, and this is your homework. I'm sure you like the interesting homework I give you every time. Okay, so let's come back to the PowerPoint presentation, and I hope you are done copying this down, because now we have to proceed to this web chart. This is question number 6 in the textbook. You have to glance through the text and find the special qualities of Mary Kom. Complete the web by putting different qualities of Mary Kom in the boxes. So one of them has been provided to us, humble. Now I cannot tell you how important this quality of being humble is. You always must realize that it is, well, I want to share a line with you, of course, so let me come on cam for that. It is always nice to be important, but it is more important to be nice first. Very nice point. Okay, be a good human first. So being humble is very important. The more humble you are, the more you will learn, and take my word for it. There will always be people who will be not so great as you, and you know that. But at the same time, there will be people who are far superior to you. If you are not humble, you will let go of that wonderful opportunity to learn more. So in my very humble opinion, always remain humble, be a student all your life, stay hungry, stay foolish, as Steve Jobs says or said. It is his line, stays forever. So my point is, always be humble, and that's the first quality that the lesson says she had, and indubitably she was humble. She is humble. Well, what are the other qualities that you can point out? In fact, this one will be interesting. I'll start your 2 minutes immediately. There you go. You start writing the qualities, and later I am going to share you the qualities I find in her. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 qualities. So I will see you on the other side of these 1 minute and 45 seconds. Enjoy the background music then. Guys, also let us utilize some time for writing the apostrophe S and S apostrophe principles. So I hope that you have got this question. Let me take you to the notepad, guys. Here is the notepad, and let me pull it up properly so that you have the entire discussion over here. Yes, so this was the discussion, guys. Okay. Now you have everything in front of you. This was the complete discussion. Please make your notes. I'm going to give you a minute for this. The apostrophe S versus S apostrophe. Please utilize a minute and write down both the rules, write down the examples, and also jot down your homework. Are you done writing it? Well, I hope you are, and if not, you can always go back and pause the video and continue. But at the moment, I think we should go back to what we were doing, the qualities of Mary Kom, and now I will present my answer to you. I think the first quality I find in her is that she's grateful. And why do I say that? Let me bring myself right in the corner. Yes, now you can see me. Why I think she's grateful is because I remember she thanked the OGQ, the Olympic Gold Quest program. She thanked them for being helpful and helping her out I mean, whenever she needed. She mentioned that in the lesson. So I think gratefulness. Courageous. She was no doubt very courageous. She chose a male dominated sport, and she did not just make a choice and give up. She actually saw to it that she went all the way. The other quality is loving. The lesson clearly suggests that she is a very caring and loving mother. And in fact, she goes on record to says that that's the best thing that has ever happened to her. So I think she's a loving, caring person. Indomitable, someone who is not easily discouraged, who shows persistence and cannot be easily defeated. That is the meaning of indomitable. So she has shown indomitable spirit. I think that is very visible from the fact that she came from a very humble background. We saw that in the lesson that she was not born in a rich family. She had to struggle. She had to even practice with the male boxers. She had to do the sparring with male boxers. She had this indomitable spirit. Remember, often she faced a situation where the judges were not could have given her more points than what she got. In the lesson, one or two occasions have been discussed where the judgment was not all that perfect. And the last quality is efficient. But she used her resources very efficiently. She uses her time very efficiently, and she manages things very efficiently. The proof of that, she is as good at cooking as much as at boxing. So she has a nice balance, and she is very efficient at all the things that she does. She's very patriotic because she thinks that India will win more medals. Boxing will be very popular. She loves her sport. Very efficient. So I think you would appreciate that I have not just mentioned any qualities at random. Actually, I have shown you with proof why I have chosen these qualities. So if you have written any other quality, I am okay with that as long as it is justified in the lesson. Let me know in the comments if you like my idea here. I have justified each quality that I find within the lesson, guys. Within the lesson. It's very important. Okay, so let's go to the next one, which is about the question number 18. Two famous proverbs. The first one is actions speak louder than words and fortune favors the brave. Well, these two are to be talked about. The lesson tells us, the textbook tells us that we should form two groups, and each group should write a paragraph on one proverb, and the other group, of course, on the other proverb, and it should be about the life and achievements of Mary Kom. We will deal with this question, guys, but we will deal with this when we study proverbs in detail. Let me tell you that we are going to deal with proverbs separately. I'll come on cam. Okay, why is that so? Guys, in the lesson, there are quite a few occasions where you have to write about the proverbs. So I have all composed that as one study, and so later during the year, I will bring a lecture to you on the proverbs, and there we shall go ahead and study all the related proverbs. So these will be covered there, I promise. Okay, at the moment it's not your homework, and we are not going to do it right now here. I have told you the reason. Well, and now let us do something interesting. I've told you that we are going to study, the letter writing. Now, I'm going to do the letter writing in a very interesting way, in the sense that I'm going to teach you the new format, and then we will go ahead and write the letter. So, in the time that we have left, about 8 to 9 minutes, we will write down the topic, and then we will write down the new format of how the letter looks. Okay, let's dive straight into it. Just give me probably half a minute just to pull up the concerned PPT. Okay, I think I've got it, and here it is. So what is it about, guys? We are going to now study the formal letter. And why it says letter number 2? Well, I've already told you that, guys. Why it says letter number 2 and not letter number 1 is because the first one is about a job application. So we will study that later. At the moment, let's get started with basic letter of let's say information, not even complaint. Let's talk about informing someone about the bad road conditions. So some authority, and we will have that letter written. It's a formal letter. Write a letter. So look at the topic here. Write a letter to the editor of the Times of India, TOI, making him aware about the bad road conditions and suggest suitable measures. Guys, I want you to understand a basic difference. Okay, and I'll come on cam for that. The basic difference is that when you write to the editor, you don't write a letter of complaint. That's a very important difference. So in the subject line, do not mention complain about bad roads. It's the editor of the Times of India. He is not going to do the repair work for you. But yes, he will spread awareness because the editor of Times of India has that power, you know. So this is not a letter of complaint. This is a letter more to bring it to, bring it to light. So this will not be a complaint letter. I hope you love this point, the difference. And the continuation now, how does the letter in a modern format look like? Imagine this is your margin. So you go with your name and your address. Notice that there is no comma here, and this should be a fictitious name. ABC will also do, and you also may not write down the name. This one is perfectly optional. I'm saying it very clearly. Okay, this is the sender's address, and the ABC, if the name is not given, if the board has supplied you a name, then of course use that fictitious name. No comma. Next, you leave a line. Then notice everything is on to the left hand side here, is it not? Everything is on to the left hand side, and in the old format it used to be here, but not anymore. The date the best format of writing the date is this. You can go ahead and write down 9th March 2020, but I think this is better than that. Okay, then you should leave a line again. To the editor, the Times of India, DN Road, Mumbai, the address. You should know this editor, Times of India address, because often this is, this is a very common topic. You'll find it either in the preliminaries or in the board exam. So this is receiver's address. Then you should leave a line, and then you should write down the subject. Notice, guys, the subject here is about the poor road conditions in our locality. We are not going to mention the word complain because we are writing to the editor of Times of India. So we are not going to complain. We just wanted to bring it to light. We want the editor to publish this so that it falls not on deaf ears, but then the action is taken, because it definitely the authorities will make a note of that. And after this, guys, we start with the letter. So I'm not going to reveal that right now. Well, I can actually delegate that as homework to you. Well, this will be very interesting, guys. Let's do this. I'm going to give you 2 minutes for making a note of this format. Your time starts now. 2 minutes, guys. Quickly make a note of this format, because often students ask me what is the latest. Well, this is the latest, the very latest, in fact. I'll be with you at the end of these 1 minute and 38 odd seconds. Hope you are making a proper note about everything here. And writing the date, I've told you that there is this way where you write 9th March 2020, but I prefer write the date written this way, March 9, comma, space, the year. It eliminates the doubt of whether it is TH or RD or ND, whatever. So this is much better and the latest. Okay, then the time is up. And how are we going to make this interesting, guys? We are going to make it interesting because of this. So now what I'm going to do is, these are your words. Okay, you should make a note of these words, and then I am going to give you the format of the letter, the body of the letter also, and you should fill in the blanks where these terms fit in perfectly. So for this one, I'm going to give you just a minute, guys, just a minute for you to make a quick note of these words. Your minute has started. Quickly make a note of these terms. First one is terrible, stink. Second one is at the earliest. Third one is potholes. Fourth one is earnestly. Fifth one is senior citizens. Sixth one is in total darkness. Seventh is highly obliged. Eighth one is made even. Ninth is to get rid of. And 10th one and the final one is assaults. Please make a note of these, because in the next slide now I'm going to share the body of the letter as well. So it will help you to write a good letter. And the interesting thing is, I would have left blanks for these terms to fit in. Your duty is to see which one fits where perfectly. That is your last bit of homework for this lecture. All right, the time is up, and so let us visit now the body of the letter. There you go. So that's the letter for you, and you are supposed to fill in the words and send that to me via email, or some people send snapshots on WhatsApp, whatever it is, and we will then check. Okay, so I hope that you enjoyed today's lecture. What we did was we finished the unit 3.5, Maricom, the supermom, and we studied formal letter writing as well. So I have no doubt that you enjoyed this lecture. Do leave your comments, do leave your homework or whatever it is that you want to share. If you like the points I shared in between about my memories and about the apostrophe S and S apostrophe, fine then. So we'll stop for now. Stay home, stay safe during these times, and up until next time,